if we start automating our art, what are we making more time for as humans? If you would rather spend your time coding and prompting a piece of software to, quote, make music, you're not a musician. For me, the fun part is making stuff. So I really don't give a shit if there's stuff out there that can do it. I mean, a chef cooks because they enjoy cooking.
TJ Dumser, who records under the name Six Missing, is one of those guys who makes you feel better about the world just because he's in it. He's a professional sound designer, mixer, and composer whose journey as an ambient musician started a decade ago with an accidental 15-minute guitar meditation that a friend convinced him to release. Fast forward, and he's an ambient playlist fixture with millions of streams who's had his face on a billboard in Times Square. But he's as open, introspective, and committed to music as a mental health practice as ever. His recent album, Without Mind, which you're hearing now, began as a score for ketamine therapy sessions. But what kind of ambient musician thrives on pressure? How does he balance the demands of audiences and playlist editors with his own impulses? How does he feel about AI-generated ambient? And what is it like owning the Tyrannosaurus Rex of vintage analog synths? I talked to TJ to find out. I'm Stephen Boykevich, aka Good Sunset, and this is Slow Fade, conversations about finding meaning, building community, and making art that matters in a digital age. We're just getting started, so leaving a review if you dig it and sharing it with a friend makes a huge difference. Quick note, if you're subscribed to us through Apple Podcasts, please click the link in the show notes that says correct Apple Podcasts feed. Make sure that's the one you're subscribed to. There is a duplicate feed out there that I'll be taking down in a few weeks, and I don't want to lose you. It's a bit of a pain, but I appreciate your making the switch, if need be, so we can stay connected. Thanks for being here.
So I grew up in Westchester, which is about an hour and a half north of Manhattan. So my dad worked in the city. We would always be going in and out of the train often. So the city was just like the place that was always in my sights when I was growing up. I was like, well, I have to get there. I loved it. I really loved it. It was just so neighborhoody and fun. You could walk everywhere. I used to run. And then we decided to move to Austin in February. Well, we decided in January of 2020 and we moved in February of 2020, which was just bananas timing to get to a completely new place. So yeah, it was pretty wild. I love talking to people that have been in New York and have left New York because I feel like it's not comparable to any other place.
Tell me about what the city meant to you and how deep it got into you, especially in that special situation of growing up close and having it be the destination, which, I understand so well.
For me, it was just like the beacon of life. Like it was just kind of like where everything was happening. There was just a lot of movement and a lot of activity and a lot of energy. And so as a kid, when we would grow up and we would go and we would visit the city for a day or go down and, meet my dad or go on a weekend or something, it was always just like, it just started seeping into me. And then as I got older and I started working there and started kind of contributing to what the city is and what it does, and also how hard it is as well to make it, and then leaving a steady job kind of on a whim and becoming a solo freelancer, working for myself, and then facing an even greater challenge of like, okay, there is no one that I can rely on other than myself now to make this. I just felt like the city, there was no better place to do it. There's just so many opportunities. And the thing that I love so much about it as well is like it forces you to be at the top of your game no matter where you are.
Yeah.
Because there are 5,000 people waiting behind you for that opportunity that you've either fallen into or worked for or just happenstance have gotten. So if you don't perform, next in line. And that pressure works so well for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love it because it just, my wife and I talk about this all the time. She gets so happy when I just like sit down and I stop moving. And she's like, it's so nice when you relax. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I like to be in motion. I like to be doing things. And so if I were to just kind of not have that pressure around me, it could get a little like danger territory for me in the laziness category, I think, where I'd be like, okay, well, I don't have to. And that's partially what I struggle with a little bit here in Austin, is that it's a much more laid back lifestyle. So the pressure or the kind of like engine has to work a little bit harder for myself to kind of manufacture these situations where I have to kind of overcome or meet a deadline or accomplish something. So the city to me really became like an identity, and everything that I started to grow into and grow out of happened in the city. So I grew out of drinking. I gave up drinking. I started performing as a solo artist. I left bands behind. I kind of started finding my own way as a freelancer and running my own business. And the city just allowed me to do all of that. So yeah, I just have a very special place for it. And it's also, it's home. So home will always be home.
How did you ever leave it?
You know, it was just that we wanted to try something different. I grew up obviously outside of the city. I went to a 12-month program that was my, in quotes, college. I went to Full Sail University. So I never really left all that much. And then as soon as I got back, I was 19, 20, probably 19 years old. I began working. That was my first job. So I got a job at a post-production facility, a jingle house. And then I was just there. And I was in bands there, and I would visit friends at their colleges and stuff, but all within driving distance. And my wife is from New Jersey, so she never really like left. She went to NYU, so she was like really in the city. And so we were like, you know, let's try something different. Let's try something new. I had been kind of tangentially aware of Austin for many years because I came down here in 2008 with a band I was in to play my first South by, and I had a good time. And then so we took a trip together, my wife and I, and we really liked it. And we were like, this is great because, you know, cost of living versus what we were paying for in Astoria. And what we were getting a 2-bedroom apartment that we were sharing an office, which was a bedroom. We were back to back, and my business started getting kind of bigger, and I started needing more space and needing more gear. And it just became a little bit like not feasible to see the future, the next step in the city of being like, well, we could get a 3-bedroom, a 4-bedroom. It's like, well, you're paying what a mortgage would cost on a house. So we started looking elsewhere, and Austin came up, and we were able to rent a home that was an extra bedroom and bigger, and we were able to have a driveway, and we were paying less than we were paying in Queens. So we were like, let's try this. And then the pandemic happened, and we were like, oh wow, good timing.
Well, it's interesting. You talked about being the kind of person where you'll thrive under pressure and there's the risk of turning into a bit of a jellyfish without it. So I've met some ambient artists who just seem like they live in a state of pure zen, and that meditative music that comes out of them is just an expression of sort of where they are all the time. And then there's this other category of people who seem to need it as a lifeline because their inner world can be so chaotic that the only way they can balance it out is by making these, you know, the clouds of sonic bliss and sort of trying to find some balance between the two. It sounds like you might lean towards the latter category.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's perfectly put, and well, astute observation on that is that's exactly it. Is like, it's my therapy, really. Like, it was the thing that started to become my outlet very early on without me even realizing it, I guess. When I started playing this type of music, I wasn't really aware that this was a genre of music. Like, this was just something I started doing. I came at it from the angle of like stoner jam bands like The Dead and Fish and Pink Floyd and you know, all of these 70s bands and things like that. So for me, it was more like, Tangerine Dream and Robert Fripp and all that. So like, I was coming at it from the angle of like this weird kind of like extension of psychedelic jamming type of stuff. I didn't know. You know, the first time I heard Brian Eno, it blew my mind. And I was like, wait, there's this and this exists. And it kind of became this form of medicinal meditation, really, that allowed me to take all the inner chaos, take all of the just endless chatter in my mind, and start channeling it into this intentional slowing down and just focusing yourself in the present moment as much as possible. And so when that started happening, it was a great unfolding for me. Like it just kind of all started happening. And then I started learning about other ambient greats like Harold Budd and Daniel Lanois and Hiroshi Yoshimura and Ryuichi Sakimoto and all of these. It was just a total paradigm shift for me. And it still is. Like that's why I create as much as I do, is like, because you turn on any sort of news outlet and it's just absolute chaos and horror every single day. And so you kind of just have to do things to take care of yourself as best as possible so you can show up in the world as a better person to try to contribute positivity to this ever dark kind of landscape that we're living in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, where do you think you would be without it?
Yeah, I can't picture my life without music, period. It's always been something that has just been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. And the first time I ever wanted to pick up an instrument was when I was young, like maybe 6 or 7, watching Back to the Future and seeing Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly play Johnny Be Good. And I was like, I don't even know how to do what he's doing, but I just like was drawn to it. So music saved me. Music has saved me time and time again. I mean, you know, through high points and low points, there are songs that just bring you right back to those moments. And I think that it's a super powerful thing for people as well. It's like scent memory. Like you can hear a song and you can be thrown instantly back into that moment that you're there, and all of a sudden you're in high school and you're driving to school and the windows are down and you're in a junior going to the senior law, and like you're just boom there, and it's like this just crazy magical transportive thing. Then when I got sober in 2014, it saved me all over again. Like it was the thing that I was able to focus on and direct myself towards. It's just this beautiful companion that never really asks anything of you other than to just observe it. And I think that that's like a really just beautiful thing. And I don't know. I wouldn't know where I would be without it, really. I mean, how about you? Like, I'm sure, what was your path towards getting towards the music that we create, really?
Man, there's a lot of parallels. I was basically a classic rock kid and played classic psych rock through high school, guitar and vocals the whole time. Only discovered synths a couple of years ago. And it was in this period where it was, you know, there's some very difficult personal things, and finding this outlet where things just seem to flow. I feel like it saved me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really funny. It's like, I think the thing that brought me to it was guitar effects, and it started there. I mean, I went to Main Drag Music in Williamsburg on a weekend because I had seen a YouTube demo of the Earthquaker Devices Avalanche Run, and I was like, well, that seems really cool. Like, I want to mess around with that. And that was kind of like the first adventurous effect pedal that I got. Pairing the delay with the reverb in one pedal was it was really eye-opening for me, and I just started messing around and started playing with it, and would just kind of meditatively drop into this thing, and I would record them because I was working at a studio, so I would just sit there and just kind of like track. I sent it to a friend of mine, and he was like, you should start releasing this. And I was like, why? And he's like, because this is music. And I was like, is it? Okay. I mean, I guess so. Sure. And that practice was something that I had to get really used to, is like working on something, releasing something, and moving on. Because I had done it with bands and I had done it in support of other people, but I had never done it for myself. So I didn't even really know, like, how do you put music on Spotify? How do you get music online? Like, so there's a lot of learning, and there was a lot of asking questions. And of course, this was before the time of ChatGPT, so I actually had to talk to people, which was a good thing.
Not always easy.
it was nice because it also started to build a little bit of a community for me, because I was able to talk to people, and we could share experiences, and we could share our thoughts on things. And so I started learning, and through that one simple conversation that I had with a friend, I was like, I guess you're right, I should start putting this out. So that became the ethos of the project in general, was just like make things to finish things and release them.
Fascinating to hear you talk about such a sort of small, intimate, and even unexpected beginning. And then looking at the scale that it's reached, it sounds like this was not something that you set out anticipating.
No. I think yes and no. Like any musician or anybody that creates something, an artist in any way, you have a hope that it will reach people. I'd always hoped that people would listen to it, and for a really long time people didn't, and it was just the practice of releasing and just being like, well, I'm happy with it, was the thing that I had to get really comfortable with. And it's something that was very hard for me as well, because it's like, but I love this, and this is a piece of me, and I'm sharing this with like the world, and don't you like me, world? Yeah, and it's like there was just echoes, cavernous echoes that I was screaming into, which still feels like, to be honest with you, sometimes. But no, I mean, the scale that it's at now is I'm incredibly grateful for it, and I feel very lucky to be able to do the thing that I do, but I also know how long and how hard I've worked at it, so it feels good. It feels like, okay, you've got like your tires in the mud and you're just spinning for a really long time, and eventually something will catch and you'll start to get some forward motion. So it feels like something caught, and now it feels like, great, let's keep going. So I mean, the thing that I think that I have, that I think a lot of people share, is like I really enjoy just doing this whether or not anybody would be listening. So I hope there will be an outcome, but I'm not expecting it. I mean, this is 10 years of doing Six Missing this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I still feel the same way I do when I ship off a master or I hit upload on DistroKid. Like, I still feel like, okay, that was fun. What's next? Like, let's just keep exploring. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep re-exploring. I mean, the whole rabbit hole of gear is a thing that I personally enjoy. I see that you do too. Is like, it's just, sounds are fun to find and farm and fish for, and if you can play with instruments and push yourself into areas that you are entering with that beginner's mind of not knowing the box to exist within yet, it makes it incredibly fresh all the time. And I think that if you create from that place, it's just a blast. Like, there's nothing better than that, really.
Yeah, for sure. Can you track anything that changed in either your approach to making music, how you were trying to move it out into the world when you started really catching traction? Or was it more a matter of time and gradual momentum?
I think it was both. Not to cop out on an answer, but I think that, so I have a lot of friends that are really talented, and they will get stuck in this kind of demo mix phase, and they'll just work it and they'll work it and they'll work it and they'll work it, and then they just won't release it. And I respect that, like not wanting to do a certain thing that doesn't feel 100% like yourself, but I don't know if you can necessarily even know what's 100% yourself until you actually go through the act of releasing it. And you put it out there and you say, this isn't mine anymore, this is yours. And do people connect with it or do they not? And I think that that type of stuff started to help me figure out who I really was and what I was trying to say with it. I think that I started to realize, like, okay, sitting down and doing a 25-minute guitar looping jam that I put out uncut is super fun for me. but maybe not so much for anybody other than myself. So I had to start getting a little tougher on myself, saying like, let's challenge ourselves to make this palatable. Let's challenge ourselves to a certain extent, play the game a little bit. Like if you want to be heard, then figure out what people are listening to, which is not to say that I molded myself to something that I wasn't, but I think that it is also just through those acts of completing and releasing and almost like quote market researching on the fly, you get to see what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
And so if you don't release, you can't ever know. Right. So you're just kind of stuck in your own echo chamber. So to go back to your question, I think by pushing out material and releasing works, I started to get a better sense of where I wanted to exist and what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it. And then I also think that there was simultaneously a complete release and letting go of all of that I just said and just being like, screw it. Like, I like this. Let's see what happens. And the funny thing is like 99% of the time, the stuff that I was just like, let's just put this out. I liked this. This is great. I'm not going to overthink it. I mean, that's what happened. My very first track that started popping was a track that the day before I uploaded the record to DistroKid, I just was messing around with my Eurorack. That was it. I was just messing around and I was like, I think I want this to be a 5-track EP and not a 4. So I just put it out and that was the one that went. And I was like, of course. Yeah. The thing that you just are having fun with and you're not really thinking about, and it just comes from that purest form of expression is the thing that connects sometimes. So I don't know. And I'm also still figuring everything out too. Like I still feel like a true beginner and like I have no idea what I'm doing at all.
I mean, there's something in there that is one of the most fundamental dilemmas, it seems to me, any artist, any creative professional has to negotiate.
Yeah.
Like we all have this side of ourselves where we just want to do something that seems like a completely pure and immediate expression of exactly what I want to say, even when I don't know what I want to say or how to say it, but just like this thing comes out because I really wanted to say it and sort of that should be enough. And then there's this completely different world that you're talking about that if you're paying attention is setting all kinds of signals. And it's never easy to negotiate. Yeah. And to be honest, I think a lot of artists get sort of uncomfortable talking about it. Yeah. So really fascinated in how you tack between the two of those and try to find that balance.
That's a great question. And also Yeah, I mean, I know you're speaking from experience as well, because I feel that all the time. I guess the simplest thing that I can say, which is a complete oversimplification, is one for you, one for me. And that's like, if you look at the things that I release and you've gone back through the catalog at all, I think there's a little bit of a trend. There's a record where you're like, what the heck is this? And then there's a record where you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, that got on some playlists here, and I saw that he was posting about this, and great, they shared about this over here. Oh, cool. So it's not an accident, I guess. Okay. It's more or less, I try to keep the balance because I think that's how you nourish your artist side while also maintaining that the fact is if you want this to function as a form of income and a business, you have to treat it like a business. So you have to kind of work with your audience then, work with your information that you have, which is people always say sometimes it's like, well, I never know what these curators are going to pick. And it's like, are you listening to what they're picking? Because then they're telling you exactly what they're looking for. And I'm not saying like write knockoffs or jump on and just bang out a whole bunch of crap that you don't feel good about to get into a playlist. I would never advise somebody to do that. But I would say like, what are they telling you through this? What can you glean from it? Like, what are the themes? What are the elements? What's the vibe? Like, taking note of that across the board, across platforms, across blogs, across reviewers. Like, and I will say, like, I don't have that figured out at all. I'm still trying to figure out certain things about that. But I do think that the way that you can create this longevity And so that you don't burn out one way or another, either existing in complete obscurity or just writing empty stuff, is by doing a balance of each. I'm not saying write empty stuff is, the thing that you should do, but I am thinking that it's like challenging yourself to, I'm sure as you know, as a writer, it's like, it's a writing challenge. Like, okay, what can I do with this? How can I make this me? How can I make my voice still come through? How can this sound like a Six Missing track, but knowing what I know? And part of that for me has been like lengths of things, like trying to be a little bit more concise about what I say and how I say it. Not only even in the compositions, but with the unfortunate dwindling attention span of social media too. Sure. Trying to just be a little bit more to the point. Which, as I'm sure you've seen in our conversation already for the last half hour, like I like to talk about the things that I do, and I like to explain, and I like to share. And musically, I used to do that, almost to a point of self-indulgence. So it's like getting more refined as it goes, I think.
When I was just discovering ambient music, I discovered your music very quickly, just reached out with something nice to say, and you were wonderfully open and warm. But then you reach a point where you have a following, you become more visible, and then you're in this strange gray zone. I experienced you leading with openness and welcome, but then people can come to you with all sorts of things. Staying open to tens or hundreds of thousands of strangers can be a very dangerous thing. How do you negotiate that?
I mean, it's something that I'm navigating every day. I mean, I'm not saying that there are like tens of thousands of DMs in my inbox every single day, not even close. But it is something where, yeah, you're right. It's also, I used to share a lot more about like my personal life on there. And then I realized I'm like, you know what? That doesn't feel like necessarily the best thing to be doing. And I think if I were to do something like that, it's like occasionally. But I think the element of like this parasocial type of feeling that some people can get where they feel like they know you because you share about certain things in a certain way is a little dizzying sometimes. So I don't really know. I mean, I just try to stay as authentic as I can. And I also know that how I would want to be spoken to and messaged with if I were reaching out to somebody that I admired or somebody whose work I really loved or whom I had a question for. I just think, Tycho was this way. And I had first reached out to him many years ago when I started getting into synths, and I was like, wow, this guy is like awesome. He's sharing about all this stuff. And I sent him a message asking like a question. I'm like, this guy is never going to get back to me. And he got back to me, and he was very gracious and very open, and he was very generous with his time. And I was like, that's awesome. And like, that's really great. And it also makes me just feel really, more connected to the thing that he's doing. I get it. Like, you can't message, Ed Sheeran or Taylor Swift and expect a message back. But I do think that there is like this weird thing where when people start to get a certain level of notoriety, they feel like they have to withdraw. Right. And I don't get that. And maybe that's because I don't get tens of thousands of DMs in my inbox. So it does feel more manageable to kind of answer. But I'm not totally sure yet. I think I'm just kind of handling it day by day, situation by situation. And there are also just people that are just weird and mean too. So it's like, you have to protect yourself from that stuff as well. As much as you want to be like, hey, that's not nice. It's like, that's what some people are looking for, is that kind of poking the bear, I guess. Right. I don't know. Social media in general, we could go off the deep end on this. It's a double-edged sword for me. I grew up before there was Facebook, before the internet. Like, I remember getting the internet on a CD-ROM and having internet time, when you had to get on the modem. So for me, seeing all this stuff in my lifetime has been wild. And now it even feels like with the advent of AI really in the past year or two, things have just been turbocharged, and I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to make of it. I think that there's like incredible connections like ourselves that we can make all around the world, which has allowed me to work with people in different countries, in Japan, in Australia, and in Germany, in Stockholm, like all these places, which is really, really freaking awesome. But on the other side of it, it's like, I don't know, if you look at your screen time and you're like, great, I spent 2.5 hours on an advertising platform instead of sitting down and reading or working through a problem or writing music or spending time with my partner, like that's the part that makes me feel a little like end of days, walk into the middle of the ocean and never stop. So I don't know. It can't be a good thing for our brains is all I really feel.
But you feel like it has to be part of the whole package for you as a musician?
Where I am at in my level of career and what I hope to achieve, I think, unfortunately, yes. I don't think that someone like Paul McCartney needs to use social media. I think it's a valuable tool. I think it's an incredible, I mean, even just in the past 3 years of working with the label, the conversations that we've had, I've seen shift focus from talking about, okay, well, maybe you should get a TikTok, to being like, we're focusing everything on Meta. We're focusing all of our platform and our approach on Instagram, and we want to hit YouTube, and we want to do this. And it's like, well, I guess that's just how it is, right? Like that's where people are, and you got to go where the people are. But yeah, given if I was in a different line of work, I would probably get like a flip phone and just be completely off the grid. I think that would be really healthy for us all. I don't know. What do you think about it?
Absolutely same dilemma. I am absolutely bowled over by the kind of people I've been able to meet. I think especially when you're in one of these somewhat obscure, somewhat sort of geeky corners of the culture, even in big cities, you're not just going to run across people who are like going to talk to you about the dilemmas of fixing the voice cards on their Juno.
Yeah.
But the people who, you know, it's scattered around the world, like it's so intense for them. It's such a part of their life, and you can bond so quickly. And then you discover all these other commonalities. Like it's totally crazy to me that I have people that I trust and care for and check up on and love as artists in, I mean, literally every corner of the world, and, you know, Japan and Australia and all over. But of course it's, yeah, like there are mornings when I catch myself sort of instantly reaching to check Instagram, and that feels terrible. It doesn't always stop me from doing it, right? Which is probably even worse because it gets ingrained. If there's one advantage, it may be having grown up completely without it. I'm really glad that I can remember what life is like without it. You sort of have that anchor, and you at least theoretically can step back and think about what it all means, rather than just being the water you swim in. You know, can't live with it, can't live without it.
I mean, I guess that's kind of it, right? Is like that just is where we are. I agree with you. I think having just that knowledge and awareness of what life was like before, I mean, even before fiber internet, like I could think about downloading a song or something off of Kazaa or LimeWire or Napster before it became what it became, and waiting overnight. Okay, I'll check this download in the morning to see if this weird AC/DC track finally downloaded from their show in Germany in 1984, and only to find out that it's not the thing you thought it was, and you downloaded it and somebody has mislabeled it, and you're like, what is this? And you spend all day doing it. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I feel a lot of times I can catch myself being like the grumpy old man on the porch about it.
For sure.
But then what good is that doing me to do that too? I mean, if I could find a community offline entirely, that'd be a beautiful thing. But in order to be discovered, I do think that this is how people are finding it. This is how people are falling across stuff. I mean, I know it's how I've found many people that are now friends, many people that are musicians that I really respect and are blown away by. I feel just so many different things about it. It's like, I forget if I was like reading or hearing something where somebody was saying like, I don't know if we should be able to see some of the things that we see so easily. Yeah, like, sure. Because I should want to be able to travel to the Grand Canyon to see the Grand Canyon. I don't want to just type it into an app and see 5 million things that are showing me this beauty, this wonder of the world type of thing. But at the same time, like, how incredible that you can do that. It's wild. Same with streaming music, right? Like, we have the history of recorded audio in the palm of our hands, which is just a power that is so insane. To be able to be like, what was that song? I'm going to Google it, do this. Oh, there it is. Now here's the whole album. Got it. Like, that's wild. So I think that's why I do. I mean, you can kind of see, like, I'm a record collector. I love physical mediums. I have VHS tapes. I have CDs still. Like, I have cassette tapes. I have vinyl. I just love the slower experience of going to a store, looking for something and it not being there.
Right.
And then being like, well, damn, okay, I guess I've got to find something else, or I got to go to a different shop. My wife and I talk about this all the time when we're looking for something on streaming. It's like, remember when you went to the video store and the video wasn't there? So like somebody else had it and you'd have to be like, can you call me when this comes in? Because I'll come back and get it. Mm-hmm. Having to discover something that way. Like all tools, you have to know when to put it down, I think. When you're done using the tool, if you're building a house, you don't carry the hammer around with you for the rest of the time. Like you put it down when you're done with it. You know, I use Spotify and Amazon and Apple. Like, I use them all for different things, which is really funny. But I will still support an artist. Like, if there's somebody that puts something out as a friend of mine, I will go buy it on your Bandcamp. I will buy your tape. I will buy your cassette. I want to support people that are doing the things that we're all doing because, well, first of all, I know how it is to put something out and not have anybody buy something. Mm-hmm. So like, I want to always make sure that I can support people doing something that's scary, is a piece of themselves, took effort and was hard work. I think that like humans in general need to keep doing that. But I will also like go stream your album on Spotify because that's also really easy. And my car no longer has a CD player. So it's like, all right, embracing the times, but also doing what you can to support.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's beautiful. This stuff is complicated enough just in the world of social media. And we haven't even talked about AI. You mentioned it, how much it's changed just in the last year and a half. And I feel like everybody's brains are breaking as they're trying to figure out what to expect, what it means for them. It's you know, what it's doing for professions, let alone creativity and literacy. But I mean, I remember even before Suno got good, people were saying, oh, look, like it can do ambient already. And I remember thinking, okay, what's going on here and what's this going to mean looking around the corner? So what's your perspective on it, especially as an ambient artist?
Yeah, it's something that I'm still figuring out. I know for sure one thing is that I don't have any interest in it. And I've never used Suno. I've never even been curious enough to try any of these apps. I've never been curious enough to even research what is out there. I don't have an interest in it because for me, the fun part is making stuff. So I really don't give a shit if there's stuff out there that can do it. I mean, a chef cooks because they enjoy cooking. Sure, there's like fast food restaurants now that can make a burger without anybody in it and a robot does it. Like, great. That's easy. That's convenient. It's just fast food. It's not going to nourish you. So I think for me, it's about the process. And like, if somebody wants to create ambient music badly enough to try to make a living of it using completely generative AI software, like, I don't know, that sucks for me, I guess. But if that's what you want to do, like, sure, go ahead and do it. It doesn't make you a musician. This is the stuff that I actually feel really true about. If you would rather spend your time coding and prompting a piece of software to, quote, make music, you're not a musician. And I think that the artists that I've heard even saying like, well, it's a tool, I use it in my process. It's like, fuck off. Like, honestly, that's just a really hacky move. And I would wager a bet to say like, well, how are they involved with these companies in the back end that they want you to be thinking that you should be using these things? Because the real thing is like, when I say they, but I mean the AI companies, when they tell you it's here to stay, get used to it, figure it out or get left behind, I just feel like you don't have to feel that way. Like, you don't have to be worried that you're going to be, quote, left behind. What are you being left behind in? In this kind of soulless, non-nourishing crap that gets put out? Sure. Like, why do you want to participate in something like that? As you can see, my thoughts are all over the place about it. It's generally that I don't like it or not. Yes, it is here. Sure, there are tons of AI generated artists uploading millions of tracks a day to the streaming platforms that are making it harder for people to get into the rooms and break into the spaces, and might even be forcing human-made art out as well. But that doesn't mean that you can't still make it for the enjoyment of it. And I know that, like, it's a hot topic right now because also things are changing by the day, right? So my opinions are going to change on it by the day as well. I generally think that in the field of the arts, AI is just junk food. And in the field of medicine, in the field of research, I feel like the tool of AI is something that I would hope to see massive medical breakthroughs and advances in medicine and in treatment for things that have plagued humanity for tons of years that we can't seem to figure out yet. I would love to see that. Let's use it there. Let's supercharge this type of work. But like, if we start automating our art, what are we making more time for as humans? Right. Like, this is the thing I do when I have the time to do it. This is the thing I enjoy doing outside of my job. So why would I want to offload a part of that to a machine learning piece of software?
I agree completely. Amid all the scary things about it, one of the things that I found a little bit hopeful is that there's a pretty incredible backlash. You see it all over social media among people of that generation who are supposed to be the core audience. Like, when in the past have we had a technological breakthrough that was not embraced by young people first? And it's interesting that AI slop has become a term of abuse, even when it's not referring to AI. 18-year-old wants to say that something is just a piece of crap, they'll call it AI slop, even if there's no AI involved whatsoever.
Yeah. I hope so. I feel very encouraged as well when I see things like house parties and bands playing at house parties or college parties and people showing up. I get encouraged when I see Phoebe Bridgers going on tour being like, put your phones in this pouch and you can't take it out. Like, these are really positive steps. And I think, they always say, like, the kids are all right. Like, I see shows like Trackstar on the internet, and you see these kids that are 17, 18 years old that know all about, like, the 70s punk revolution in New York City. And I'm like, that's awesome. More of that. When I go to a handful of record stores around town here and they're packed, you can't even get a spot in the parking lot, I'm encouraged. It's like, this is great. Okay. That is the vacuum of social media sometimes, where we start to feel like this whole us versus them thing. And almost 100% of the time, when you sit down and have a conversation with somebody like this one-on-one, you find out that, like, we are more similar than we are different. Social media exists on dividing and division and all of this. And I think that when we connect with people one-on-one, we see that, yeah, a lot of people feel the same way about this stuff. I don't want to use AI. Like, why does my mother need to know how to use AI? She doesn't. And, like, she'll be fine. We probably don't need to use it either. Like, I agree with you. It's very encouraging to see all of that stuff. Just the last thing that I can say about AI is, like, when there's a problem that you can't figure out, or there's something that you're not feeling inspired by, and you work through it and you get to the other end of it, that feeling, you can't replicate that by punching it into Claude or GPT and getting an answer in 3.5 seconds. You're not going to feel that sense of accomplishment. That's the whole human experience, right?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. You mentioned somewhere being the meditative music obsessive in a family of athletes. I'm just super curious what that's like for you.
I have had very supportive parents along the way, which has been great. We only didn't see eye to eye for a period of time, and that was when they were trying to get me to do sports. And so that was growing up. It was like baseball, basketball, soccer, lacrosse, all of these things. And I wasn't athletic. I wasn't good at it. I hated exercising. My dad was a runner. I used to hate running. And I was like, I just couldn't understand, why don't you just want me to sit inside? Like, I just want to be inside with my world inside my head and all of this. And it wasn't until I think they saw, like, I started getting the Sam Ash magazines, and I was like really interested in guitar. And when they got me my first guitar and I became serious about it and wanted to take lessons, and then I was in bands and all this, I think that they saw like, oh, he's going to be okay. He's not going to be too weird. I think he'll be kind of weird, but he's not going to be too weird. I mean, my dad it took him a minute to just kind of recalibrate on that, where he's like, okay, he's not going to be the baseball son. And almost immediately after that, I mean, he was great. He was amazing. He still is. And he would drive me to shows. He would have to come with me because I wasn't old enough to even to get into the venues that I was playing at as a band. It was like, okay, well, yes, here's the little kid that we have in our band of, 18, 19-year-olds. His dad's here, so he's good. He won't drink. Let him in. And he would carry gear. He would be there sometimes where he was the only person in the bar in Poughkeepsie somewhere, like, because we had a band playing a show, but nobody came. To this day, I mean, he's the sweetest. Like, he is trying very hard to, and I think he is getting it more and more, without knowing it, but understanding ambient music. He'll write me an email like on a day that something comes out, and he'll tell me like what he felt and what he listened to and how it made him feel. Yeah, it's just great. I feel very fortunate and very lucky to have grown up in that situation where they were like, well, what do you want to do? Yeah. Like, let's do that. So I don't have kids, but I would feel like I would do the same thing with them too, is like, just find the thing that you love and then do that. Let's try a whole bunch of stuff and then do it. Are your kids old enough to be musical?
They like to mess around. They love it when they can get in the studio and get into the synths. And the most important part for me is that they feel it, right? They have their favorite songs. They sing. It's just this like spontaneous, beautiful, joyful thing for them. So like, that's the thing I want more for them than anything else. And they've got it. So that's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, that's really awesome.
I'm going to throw in one gear geek question.
Yeah.
It seems like the Korg has a really special place in your heart and your setup.
Oh, yeah.
Side note, we're talking about the T-Rex of vintage analog polysynths, the monumental Korg P3100.
Can you talk about the magic of that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I saw this on a YouTube video with Olafur Arnolds probably like 5-6 years ago. He was doing like a breakdown of a song that he had done with Bonobo, or it was a studio tour. I saw a video with Olafur Arnolds and I was like, wow, what the heck is that thing? And then I started researching it and I was like, wow, these are really hard to find. And then I found one and I was like, oh, wow, these things are really expensive. Okay, this is starting to make a lot more sense. Yeah, I did the super scary thing of being like, okay, I'm going to go for this. I found it in a synth store in California and they shipped it overnight on an airplane, like a giant box of cocaine, and I had to go to like a airport hangar and pick it up. And
amazing.
It's been in the shop already 3 times over the past 3 years. But I love it so much. It's such a unique synth. It's the sound of the oscillators, the way the filter works, just the way that the resonators are too. It has so much going on inside of it. Plus it's big and it's heavy and it like looks, I think for me, the thing that, because I'm not like a composer, I really need to be drawn in by the thing that I'm going to be working with. And that thing just, every time I walk by it, it's like, it makes you just want to touch it and like play it and turn a knob and like do things. I just have a lot of fun. Playing it, and it makes me enjoy the process of it. And every time I turn it on, there's just like a new thing that I discover how to do with it. And I'm not even scratching the surface just with all of the patchable access points that you have to it and the modulation and everything. And it just looks cool. It's just really fun. They have reissued the PS3300 in like limited batches. It seems really cool, but every time I think about that, I'm like, well, this is more than enough of what I need, because that synth is like 3 of those stacked into one, and this alone is like, you know, a lifetime's worth of sounds and explorations and everything. But there is a $39, I think, plug-in from Cherry Audio that just nails this thing dead on as well. So if you are curious about the sound of it, it's a 3300, which, like I said, is like this but just with 2 other forms of modulation and oscillators. So it's the older brother of it. You can dial in the exact same sounds, and obviously at a complete fraction of an investment. Unsolicited shout to Cherry Audio for that.
You'd be one of the relatively few people who would know how close it is or not. So that's quite an endorsement. And it makes me feel a little better to know that even with a centerpiece like that, you could still have your head turned by other new gear.
Oh, yeah. I'm just waiting for the day that Olafers breaks and he has to call me and ask me for it and be like, yeah, you can have it if we come and jam. Then you can take it.
There you go. You've come full circle.
Yes, exactly.
Huge thanks to TJ for joining me for the conversation. Check out his music as Six Missing, especially his most recent solo album, Drift Sway, and his collaboration with We Are Forests, Pigment of the Forms. Also check out his Instagram and YouTube, which are as warm and wonderful as he is. Quick reminder, if you're subscribed to us through Apple Podcasts, click on the link in the show notes that says correct Apple Podcasts feed to make sure that's the one you're subscribed to, as the duplicate feed will be going away soon. I'm Stephen Boykevich, aka Good Sunset, and this is Slow Fade. If you enjoyed the conversation, please subscribe, give us a 5-star review wherever you get podcasts. It goes a long way. Thanks for listening.